Heyo friendos, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we have a Jeffree Star Cosmetics ranking video. So I have 19 different palettes from the brand, all seen here. And I have one more exciting thing to tell you guys. This is the giveaway video. So I will have in the description box the full rules for entry. But just know if you are watching between now and July 29th, 2023 at 11:59 p.m., then you have the chance to enter. So be sure to go ahead, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and again, follow the rules in the description. All right, friends, if you are ecstatic, well then, just stay tuned. So guys, this will be a quick synopsis of 19 of my palettes, my thoughts on them. I'll give you an idea of why they land where they land in my ranking. A lot of it just has to do with what I gravitate towards color-wise versus formulation, but I will explain all of that to you all. Now at the bottom of my list are the only two palettes from Jeffree Star Cosmetics that I don't really like. So at number 19, we have Beauty Killer 2. Now, this color story, it was kind of strange. I thought I liked it. I got it. I really wasn't that crazy about it. I do think that the pans also are just kind of oddly large. I don't want my pans to be this big. It's just a personal thing. But the main reason why this landed in the very bottom is because it tore my eyes up. And y'all, it's strange. I've had people tell me that certain pigment palettes from Jeffree Star Cosmetics do irritate their eyes. But I believe this one is just pure eyeshadows. It's not the pigments. And for some reason, this gave me some major eye irritation and I was crying in the shower for about an hour. So yeah, I have not had this problem with any other Jeffree palette, just this one. So moving on. So at number 18, we have the Mini Orgy. Now I do have two. I got the original one when it first launched. My sister just corrected me. This is the Mini Orgy palette. Now the reason that I have two of them is because when it first came out, I bought one. It turned out to be poor quality. And instead of causing a bunch of drama, Jeffree Star just sent out new palettes to everyone. So this is the older version. As you can see, it's kind of like creepy and weird looking here. It's very, very hard pressed. The second one that I got was indeed better. However, when it comes to Jeffree's regular formula, this does not compare. It doesn't feel like a Jeffree Star palette. Even with this remake, I'm still slightly disappointed in this one. So those are the only two that I don't feel comfortable recommending to you guys. Everything else moving forward, I absolutely recommend. If you see a color story that you like out of these palettes, you're probably going to like the palette. Now, usually I have to put my cats out of the room when I go to record. Today, I want to put my sister out of the room. Out, out, demon! The power of Jeffree compels you. So number 17, and this is a palette that I am giving away in today's giveaway. It is the Pink Religion palette. Now, I have a brand new one for you guys, but this is my used Pink Religion palette. Now, it doesn't look very used because it doesn't get a lot of use from me. I do have a tutorial, which is a 2 looks 1 palette video, as well as a review up on my channel of pretty much all of these palettes. So if you're looking for inspo, if you're looking to see what you can do with each one, go ahead, watch those videos to get some ideas. But yeah, this is high quality. It really is. It's a very, very nice pink palette. Pinks are just not my thing on a very regular basis, and so I don't reach for this one a lot. So what I will say is a very cool packaging. Again, if you're into pinks, you're gonna like this palette. So guys, at number 16, we have Star Wedding. Now this palette is beautiful. I do think as far as all the packaging is concerned, this is probably one of my favorite packaging style just because it is so sleek. It's a little bit more slender of a container than the rest of them. Beautiful color story inside here. But to be honest, it is a tad boring. Now, of course it's boring. It's supposed to be a wedding palette. But here's my theory, you guys, why I don't reach for this that often. I think it's because when I'm using my Jeffree Star Cosmetics products, for the most part, I'm really into the artistry and the pigmentation and the colorfulness that I can express on my face. With this right here, I don't really get that. And to be honest, I have these colors in other palettes. So even though this is very high quality, keep in mind that I also collect Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath Labs palettes. So I do have a plethora of shades similar to these already. And if you're wondering, how does JSC compare to Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath Labs, since they are luxury / high-end brands? Well, friendos, I don't mean to burst anyone's bubble if Natasha Denona is your favorite, but a lot of my Jeffree Star Cosmetics palettes are actually better than Natasha's. And I mean, by a smidgen. It's not like a night and day difference, but yeah, overall, I like Jeffree Star's quality a little bit better than Natasha's. And then as far as Pat McGrath is concerned, y'all, nothing tops a Blitz Astral shade if you are looking for that molten, sparkly look. Jeffree does come close with a few formulations, and I'll get into that later. So at number 15, I have the Weirdo palette. Here's the color story. Y'all, this silver in here is bomb. Let me go ahead and swatch that for you guys, just so you can see. One of the best silvers on the market, if you ask me. This is one of those blinding white silvers. So I think the reason why I don't gravitate towards this one as much, why it's not my absolute favorite, is the color story is a little bit one note, I would say. I don't feel like I can do a plethora of looks with this palette. I can do a few, but I mean, that's what you would expect from a mini palette. These just aren't necessarily my favorite shades. There's a lot of cool tones in here, and normally I gravitate more towards warm tones. So at number 14, I have Star Ranch. Here's its color story. I really like this one. I think it looks beautiful on my blue eyes. If you are a blue-eyed girl, this is one that you definitely want to pick up. My only reason why it's so low in ranking is there's a couple shades in here that are toppers. They're not full-on opaque shades, and I kind of wish that he would have stayed away from doing toppers. Now that I've had this for some more time, I've kind of come to that conclusion. Nonetheless, this does perform beautifully, and even the topper shades you can build up to a full pigment. It just takes a little bit more work. Also, I love Star Ranch, the outside aesthetic, and it is very flat. Now at number 13, I have Blue Blood. From what I understand, as far as manufacturing is concerned, this is Jeffree Star's most expensive palette to make. If I am wrong, please correct me. So I think overall this is a very beautiful palette. Again, I gravitate towards more warm shades. There's a few in these that are just absolutely gorgeous, and they are perfect if you're looking for a more classically beautiful look versus a crazy, vibrant blue look. So let me show you those. This shade Cullinan is one of the most beautiful blinding inner corner highlights that I have in my collection. Oh, look at that. Wow! Wow!
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Excuse me? Oh, I forgot. So friendos, next up is a palette that I forgot that I had. And if I had had this to redo, I would put the Conspiracy palette at number 17 before Pink Religion. So I like Pink Religion more than this one. This is not a bad quality palette. I struggle with this one, you guys. I know a lot of people really love it, and it's no shade against Shane. It doesn't speak to me. It doesn't leave me inspired and ready to create. It offends my inner artistic child. But seriously though, I'm not a big fan of the packaging. It's very bulky as well. And just not a favorite. However, let's say you feel inspired by this palette, go ahead, pick it up. It's really not bad quality. So friendos, at number 12, we have the full-size Orgy palette. Every time I pull this out, I get to look at Jeffree's naked butt, which is what I dream of every night. Let's just open it up. So inside, we have a beautiful matte fantasy. And if you ask me, this to me is the better wedding palette. I like this palette for a number of reasons. Number one is I can use this to sculpt out my entire face if I am looking for a powder contour / bronzer. I have shades that I can go to in here. I also like that we have so many lighter shades here. If you did enjoy the Aspen Ovart and Tarte palette, you're gonna like this one. Sometimes I like just a really nice bold red lip with some of these lighter shades, a little bit of contour on the eye, but looking all natural. So I do wish that there were a couple of sparkly shades in here, but I get why he didn't put them in here, because it was a marketing move to sell another palette so that you could get some sparkly shades with this.
You sticks of marketing.
So yeah, pretty smart move. So guys, when I got this next palette, I thought it was for sure gonna be my number 1. But at number 11, we have Pricked. Okay, so why did it land itself at number 11? Well, you guys know I love my oranges. I think that they're so beautiful and blingy, especially if you have blue or green eyes. I have not been rough with this palette at all, and it's already starting to tear at the back. I'm trying to show you guys, but it's hard to see. And then I really got to thinking about it. I have a lot of these shades already in my collection, so it just doesn't feel as special to me. But again, the formula is awesome. It performs amazingly. And if you're looking for your ultimate Jeffree Autumn palette, this is your girl. Now my guys, at number 10, I have the Mini Breaker palette. So this was released at the same time as Jawbreaker. It is a very beautiful color story. I love the more sunsetty looks that I can do with this palette. And my very favorite shade, the one that I don't have anywhere else in my collection, is the shade Foreplay. And this is the ultimate pinky purple matte shade. Look at how smooth and creamy. Look at how flawless this is. I don't have it in any other palette, so this one is ranked very high for me. Oh my god, no. You guys have no idea what I go through. So the only con to this palette is, of course, it's only 9 shades, but it's a mini palette. It's not supposed to be huge. That's just why it landed at number 10. Y'all, I'm so sorry for how gross this palette looks. It's got a crushed velvet outside, and I have a cat who's shedding like crazy, so ick. Honestly, this palette would probably end up higher on my list had it not had this packaging. So it's very bulky. You guys can see how thick that is. And then again, it gets dirty very easily. But what's amazing about this palette is a couple of things. So we have a very good periwinkle shade. You guys probably know that's a very hard shade to formulate. I'll go ahead and give it a swatch. Isn't that lovely? So guys, don't buy Norvina for this shade. Buy Bloodlust. It's so much better. We also see the debut, in my opinion, of what is very comparable to a Pat McGrath Labs Blitz Astral formula. Now, is it as good? No, not quite. But guys, it's up there. It's the closest I've seen. So here we go. Look at that. So that's Pink Magic. This next one is called Wet Jewel. That one is very beautiful, very sparkly as well. And these probably aren't going to show up on camera as good as they look in real life. If you're looking for that perfect olive green antique gold eyeshadow, check out Sworn Enemy. It's gorgeous. All right, moving on. So now at number 8, I have the Banana Fetish palette. Now I really enjoy the packaging on this one because it is very slim. It's easy to store and take with me on vacations. And then check out the yellows. I do wish there had been more yellow than just the ones here. Honestly, I think we could have done without the bright pink shade. We do have similar shades in some of his other palettes. That's okay though. Everything else about this palette I really do enjoy. The only critique that I could give about this palette is it's very hard for me to keep up with because my sister has sock monkeys and they constantly try to steal my palette because they think it's a real banana, and it's not. But seriously, even if I were to give this a well thought out critical review, I have nothing to say other than I wish that we had had a more yellow orange in here. That's it. I feel like that was missing. Now at number 7, we have the Cotton Candy Queen palette. All right, friendos, if you are looking for pastel perfection, you will find it in this palette. A lot of times when you see shades this light, you makeup collectors know the performance on them can be very, very chalky looking and patchy. That is not the case here. These are beautiful, perfectly performing pastels that are very light. My only critique to this palette is someone told me that they feel like their palette smells funky. I don't really smell mine when I open it up. I did check after that. If I get really up close and personal, this kind of smells like Play-Doh to me. or like a kid's toy. However, a few of you told me that your palettes actually do not smell good at all. That wasn't my experience, but I wanted to let you all know. Number 6 is one I feel a little bit guilty about including because this product is discontinued. It is the Alien palette. Now, I feel like Jeffree will eventually bring this back. So in case he does, I want to go ahead and tell you guys about it. This palette, y'all, it's one of the best. The formulation is fire. The shades are really cool and weird. And there's so much versatility to this palette. If you want to do something that's like just a natural smoky eye, you have that available to you. If you want to do something that's bright, green, and weird, that's also available to you. Also, this purple is phenomenal. I'm not going to swatch it because I don't want to make anyone jealous. But again, I think this will eventually come back. I'm really crossing my fingers, you guys. All right, guys, at number 5, we have Psychedelic Circus. Now, this one is my favorite when it comes to packaging. It's so easy to find. I'm someone who can be looking at something and I have no idea what I'm looking at. You guys know that old anecdote where someone's looking in the fridge and they can't find the mustard and the mustard's sitting right in front of their face. That's me on a regular basis, but I never lose this one because it is so vibrant, colorful, and flashy. So with this palette, you get a variety of fabulously formulated shades. So if you are looking for a rainbow palette of sorts, this is one to consider along with Jawbreaker. This one's a little bit darker, and then Jawbreaker tends to be a little bit more pastel. I have nothing negative to say about the formulation of any of these. Again, if you like this color story, you're gonna like this palette. Also, do you guys want to see Tears of Joy? Just before we go. Just so you guys can see. Oh, it's so beautiful. To me, this screams New Year's Eve. You have that pretty blindingly silver base, and then also there's some flecks of other colors in there as well. So beautiful on the eyes. So at number 4 is my most used palette of all time. It is Jawbreaker. So check this out. If you are looking for your perfect rainbow palette, this could be the one if you want something that's a little bit softer than the one I just showed you. Nothing negative to say here. Nothing but positivity. My only qualm with this one is if I had to be very nitpicky, I would just tell you that there's not that much difference in textures on these. So you have the classic matte, and then you have a sparkly shimmer, and there's not much deviation from there. So here's the gold shade. Very beautiful. Also, nice compact packaging. All right, guys, moving on. So at number 3, this is the palette that had everybody angry at Jeffree. It is cremated. Now, do I think that Jeffree Star's PR team should have advised him differently? If he does indeed have one, yes. I think that they should have told him to repackage this, name it something else, restamp everything if possible, or just hold off on releasing it, because the damage done to his brand from this was probably irreparable. Or at least no one's forgetting about it for a while. So the thing that I like about this palette is there's a lot of different textures available here, and they're all phenomenal. You can use this to build up pigment under your eyeshadow if you are planning on adding a lot of pigment on top. And guys, check out this formulation. We see a lot of things in here that I swear they are so similar to Pat McGrath Labs. So I'm gonna go in with Last Look, and then I'm also gonna go in with Diamond Ashes. So the side. Last Look is so blinding. And then Diamond Ashes. So flashy, so pretty. And again, it's more than just these 2 formulations. There's at least 4 in this palette. And you already know I like how flat the packaging is. So at number 2 is Blood Sugar. This is the palette, you guys. This is the one that got me interested in the brand. When I first got into the social media aspect of makeup, I had this friend on Instagram, and she sent me this palette. I had no idea who Jeffree Star was. I had no idea what the brand was, but she sent me this as a gift out of the goodness of her heart. And thank you, Clara. I know I've lost touch with you, but if you ever see this video, please say hello. I definitely appreciate you getting me this palette. I've always loved it. I always will. Guys, you know how hard it is to find a good, true red, and they have it in this palette. You have it many times over. You have great purples in here as well. This is just a phenomenal palette. This is what made Jeffree Star Cosmetics popular for a reason. If this color story interests you, if you need good reds in your collection, pick up this palette. You won't be disappointed. My guys, there can only be one number one, and that is Blood Money. Those of you who know me best know green is my favorite color of eyeshadow, and this right here gives me the greens that my heart desires. You guys can see how loved it is. It gets used quite a bit by me. If you were eyeing Alien, there's a lot of shades in here that are similar, especially this green Poison Ivy shade is very similar to the one that you see in Alien. It's very beautiful. Check out Money Heist. This is also one of my favorite shades. This one reminds you a lot of Voodoo Glass in the eye gloss powder formula. This one is just a little bit less sparkly, but it is gorgeous. It has a very nice prismatic multi-chrome effect. Again, one of my favorite colors of all time. All of these perform wonderfully on the eye, and that's why, even though it's kind of a bulky packaging, I'm willing to overlook this and put it at my number one. So now I need to hear from you guys. Let me know if you own any of these palettes, what you think of them, what would be your number one. Don't forget about the giveaway. Be sure to read those rules and enter if you have the time. Oh yeah, I'm also giving an Orgy palette away too. I forgot to say that earlier. I'm giving away Pink Religion and I'm giving away Orgy. Not this dirty one, a new one. A better, more pristine one. It's going to someone. Thank you all so much for choosing to spend your free time here with me. I've definitely enjoyed getting to know you. I want to say a special hello to all of you that are new. Thanks for giving me your views. I do appreciate it. So if you found this video helpful, please don't hesitate to give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not done so already, because if not, we'll both have to live with the sorrow of never knowing what could have been. All right, guys, have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye.